Sam. And ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome on behalf of the board. And I thank you for joining us here in person and to those at home on Zoom. Well, it's great to be back here at Adelaide Oval, and even better that we'll have a stadium back to 100% capacity for round one against Fremantle in a few weeks' time, thankfully. And it goes without saying, the past couple of years have been tough for many organisations and industries, and the Adelaide Football Club is no exception. 2021 has had its challenges, and we've been able to navigate a second straight year of living with COVID-19. However, we are still able to make a great deal of progress despite the COVID and the restrictions it placed upon us, which underscores the quality of the people associated with this football club and their determination to succeed. The pandemic created a level of complexity in all that we do. There were checks and balances required constantly. Our players, coaches, football staff, led by Adam Kelly, were at times forced to put their lives on hold at a moment's notice and rush to the airport and not know how long they would be away. And don't forget that also includes packing up large amounts of medical, gym equipment amongst an extraordinary amount of luggage. To the players, coaches, staff, and their partners and families, we appreciated your flexibility and the way in which you carried yourselves during this period. There was no fuss, and your approach was nothing but professional. On behalf of the club, for what you had to persevere with and the way in which you did it, thank you. As you will soon hear when we discuss the specifics of our financial result, and despite the ongoing impact of the pandemic, your club is financially in good shape. This reflects a collective effort from everyone associated with the club, but especially our members and our corporate partners, whose support has been steadfast through this period. We welcome new sponsors in Hungry Jack's and Crypto.com, who join our long-standing partners in Toyota, Foodland and Thomas Farms, together with W sponsors BHP and WorkSkill. To all of you, I would like to offer our sincere thanks. Your passion and commitment and building towards a sustained success both on and off the field, and your support in achieving that objective is appreciated. Last year, the board and the CEO, Tim Silver, spent considerable time reviewing all areas of our operations. It led us to exit baseball and esports and allowed us to sharpen our focus and further align with our football-first approach. Our top priority will always be winning games of football, and we're fully invested in both our men's and women's programs. In other words, we maximise the full extent of the soft cap. Importantly, this includes exploring and taking advantage of the AFL's allowances in the area of player welfare and well-being. Underpinning all our actions and initiatives are our loyal supporters, people such as yourself in this room and online tonight, and in particular, the members of this club. We finished the season with just over 60,000 members of the Adelaide Football Club, which represents, despite COVID, a 10% uplift on the previous year. We have members in every state of Australia and hundreds of members internationally based. There is no doubt that membership and the support that we've received from our members has been a really solid foundation under the club's operations. Club memberships tallies are talked about with a sense of competitive spirit, I notice. Often lost in the debate is the number of seasonal members. It is worth calling out. Our number of 11 game ticket holders is amongst the largest in the AFL. Traditionally, we're in the top two, West Coast and the Adelaide Football Club are traditionally in the top 2 of full 11-game members. Coming to every game, having that sort of commitment. They're the most passionate and committed and the type of supporter every sporting club wants to have. Independent research demonstrates that we have something like 900,000 supporters of the Adelaide Football Club, fans across Australia. And our digital activities therefore play a crucial role in our engagement with them. Last year, our audience, digital audience, ranked in the top 3 in the AFL, and the Inner Sanctum content was a cornerstone of our platform. And if you think about that, the population base of South Australia, and then you think about Melbourne population base and the digital outreach, to achieve top 3 amongst AFL clubs is a credit to our digital team and their performance and the quality of what they're putting on our social media and digital platforms. On field, we stayed true to our rebuild strategy for the men's team. Playing finals is, as I mentioned, is what we aspire to do. And while we did not fulfil that ambition, our performance must be viewed in the context of the transformation of our playing list. You know, we bottomed out and we're in a process of rebuilding. And that rebuild process needs to be focused, it needs to be committed. There aren't any shortcuts to achieving it, but if we do it right, we'll have a sustainable future for this club going forward. We won 7 games, including, I might add, eventual premiers Melbourne last year. We also lost 5 games by 2 goals or less that demonstrate at our best on the field, we are good enough and competitive enough when we do our best on the field. Senior coach, Matthew Nix, deserves acknowledgement. He has created an environment for our players where they can thrive. His resolve, his commitment, his compassion, his determination to succeed has us on a good journey, and it is why the board extended his contract in advance of the expiry date. Add to that the international experience of key high-performance staff like Darren Burgess, with his well-earned reputation and wealth of experience, plus Sam Dodge as our strength coach, coupled with the assistant coaches appointed over the course of the previous 18 months or so, it's clear that we have the right people in the right seats in our football department and on a journey, taking us on a journey for success. They are working well with a young squad who have a thirst for knowledge and they want to learn, and that equals a good solid foundation going forward. Having people that you can approach like Darren Burgess, Sam Dodge giving you tips on strength, and you put the assistant coaches and their wealth of experience at AFL footy across Australia, it is a combination that will work to the betterment of this club and our objective to play finals footy. If we cast our minds back to early last year, our AFLW team played in its 3rd grand final out of 5 and achieved 2 flags out of 5. That's a pretty good track record in anybody's. And whilst the results didn't go our way in the last grand final, it was a great effort. And might I add, they appear to have taken their game to another level in 2022. If you just look at the quality and the standard of the football the W team is providing to us now, and the way in which, as was mentioned, 7-1, heading into the last 2 games of the seasons for the finals, we're in a pretty good position. And if we can get, as Matthew said, some home finals this year, once again, building on momentum. And it's interesting, the W membership is up 40% this year. 40% up for the W membership of this club. We're always looking for high performances, advantage and adjustments made to our football program to achieve a greater alignment between our men's and women's program, and that appears to have paid off this year. Female participation numbers have also risen fivefold in South Australia since the Crows entered the AFLW, which is a credit to everybody involved. Under the guidance of Matthew Clark and Chelsea Randall, our players are forging a path of young girls now and well into the future, and giving encouragement to that younger generation to step up and have a go at W football. Finding a site for our new headquarters has been a high priority. It's complex, it's exciting, and at times terribly frustrating. Over the past year, we've welcomed all opportunities that have been presented to us as we've explored and developed plans for respective sites in tandem, and we continue to do so. It continues to be a work in progress. It's an intergenerational project which will benefit all of our stakeholders, but especially our players, coaches, staff, members and supporters will have our heritage, our history on display, the journey of the Adelaide Football Club since inception. It'll be a place where our members and supporters can gather and interact with the administration and our players, assuming we get past COVID and all the protocols of keeping one separate under that regime. We are currently in discussions with the City of West Torrens and Samphil regarding Thebarton Oval. We've looked at a number of sites, and I think there is something like 20 to 30 sites over the journey that have been looked at and assessed. Some have been discounted, and obviously we've worked closely on the Brompton and the Thebarton site. Each site has its advantages and its challenges, and you've got to weigh out the pros and the cons and come to a landing as to what is the best mix over decades for the Adelaide Football Club and providing the Adelaide Football Club its new headquarters and home. And simply to say, continuing work in progress, a lot of energy is being put into this. There's a lot of discussions that take place with various parties, and that takes time. But I just want to reinforce the point that it is a high priority. We're working almost daily on the objective as we work through discussions with a whole range of different stakeholders and partners. Could I now turn to the financial results for the year ending 2021? As I mentioned earlier, the pandemic impacted all areas of operations and continued to do so. However, hard work and commitment from everyone involved with the club led to a sizable increase in revenue. Our revenue was up 25% to $48 million this past year. I'm pleased to say that tonight we're reporting a cash operating profit of 3.58 or nearly $3.6 million and a statutory profit of 1.24 million. It's a big turnaround from the previous year when we actually had a loss. This can be contributed to a careful management of operating costs, as well as our members and corporate partners continuing to stand by us during the pandemic period. Debt remains unchanged at $4.5 million, and the board and senior management have a plan to eliminate that debt by 2025. We recognise that a strength of a balance sheet has never been more important, given we are looking to build a new facility, catering for our administration, training and community needs. There is some time set aside for Q&As a little later, and I'm happy to provide further details if members seek that. Can I now move to the board composition? You might recall we had several directors step aside last year, having provided distinguished and long service to the Adelaide Football Club. It led to us appointing in 21 two new appointed directors last March. Stephen Roche has brought a wealth of experience and knowledge, having worked in high-level executive positions across a varied and competitive industries. As a commercial lawyer, Shanti Bergeron's background and expertise has proved invaluable. Their skill sets complement those of the other directors and ensure the board has a well-rounded skill matrix. The current board composition is shown on the slide, and I'd like to acknowledge and thank the directors for the efforts that they've put in over the course of last year, the leadership, the composure on the issues that we had to confront last year, and that has led us in good stead. There's never short of challenges at a footy club, and if you overlay the COVID-19 pandemic on it, it just exacerbates that. Member-elected positions. Over the last fortnight, we've been holding an election for the 2 member-elected director positions. This is a significant part of our governance structure and one that ensures our members have an influence in how the club is run. Once again, this year's independent process was run by corp vote. Rob Jamieson has been one of the member-elected board directors since 2015 and nominated with 6 other candidates again. He was one of 7 nominations. And can I thank all the candidates that nominated for the board this past election process. It's not an easy task to put your name up, and comes with that publicity and profile. So for taking that step and having a real commitment and well-being focus for the Adelaide Football Club, to all 7 candidates, thank you for your support and interest in the interests of the Adelaide Football Club. Following the result of the election, I'm pleased to announce that Graham Goodings and Rob Jamieson have been appointed to the board. Graham gained the most votes and will serve a 2-year term, while Rod has been reinstated for a 1-year term. Well, I was going to ask you to please join me in congratulating them both, but you have indeed done so. So thank you. In addition, both Richard Fennell and Mark Prosciutto have had their terms extended, and I congratulate and thank Richard and Mark for their continuing service to the Adelaide Football Club. CEO Tim Silvers will give you an update on the club's future direction, but before he does, I want to finish by saying that we're on a good journey, and I know I used that term last year, but I genuinely, sincerely believe that the journey this football club is on, the attitude and the culture that's prevailing amongst our players, the administration, everybody's on the same page, all heading in the same direction, all with a commitment for the members of the football club to give you success on the field. And that continuing support is really critical, and it's invaluable, because that's the foundation of the Adelaide Football Club. Thank you for your continuing support.